Hello, welcome to No Filter, a Nintendo podcast. I'm your host, Wizrad, and this is episode 11, being recorded on February 15th, 2018. Sorry for the little hiatus there, everyone. I know it's been 2 weeks. I've just been really busy with life over the last little bit here, so, just don't have as much time to actually make the videos, but I am still active on my Twitter, if you guys want to follow me there, at Wizrad. Links in the description, obviously, so... let's just get started though. There's quite a bit of news I want to talk about. I have quite a few games I can go over as well, and then after we have no filter rant. So this episode should be pretty good. So for the first bit of news, I wanted to talk about THQ Nordic. So I've been following Nordic as a game company for a little while now. I found it kind of interesting to see a publisher. I believe they did come out of the Scandinavian countries, somewhere there, but it was kind of interesting to see a publisher kind of progress in today's gaming landscape, where it's mainly the three big Ubisoft, EA, and Activision. So to see a Nordic kind of progress in today's gaming landscape was interesting, because you see a lot of these kind of double A sort of publishers, a lot of them went bankrupt and went out of business. So THQ, for example, Majesco, a lot of these other companies like that, Sierra, all that kind of stuff, they're now gone, and you don't see this very often, but here you see Nordic, this company that seemed relatively small, didn't have anything too crazy. It had a couple key franchises, I guess. But here it is now. They bought THQ a little while ago. They're releasing all these games, having some new games coming out, and here they are now. They just purchased Koch Media, I believe they're called, who owned rights to many different games formerly from THQ, including Saints Row. So this is really interesting. A $140 million plus buyout here, acquisition from THQ Nordic. And I think that's just really interesting in today's gaming landscape to see a company growing and getting more and more. It seems like maybe they were based out of a Scandinavian country, and then maybe they're trying to go worldwide now. I think it's really cool. It makes me wonder, how is their business actually performing? I just can't see a publisher like this making a ton of money. They must have very low operating costs. And it's cool to see that they're really growing it. I don't know if this means they just want to bring out bigger and better games, because right now we see a lot of them doing re-releases of games with THQ Nordic, or they're getting the rights to a game from another company and releasing that. And a lot of them are coming out physical as well. Like we saw a lot of those coming out physical for the Wii U, and now with the Switch. But another thing I want to bring up about THQ Nordic is they are re-releasing The Blob 1 and The Blob 2. So that's really, really cool to me. It's not in a dual pack, which is really annoying to me. I think that'd be perfect. Make it like a $60 game, double pack. I'd probably buy that. It'd be better if they made it like a $40 game and it was a double pack. That'd be the best. But that's really awesome. I loved The Blob 1 on the Wii. I played The Blob 2. I don't remember it as much, but I do remember one of the levels was like pretty amazing, how it was like elevated above everything else, and The Blob 2 definitely was more ambitious, and it really makes me want to go back and play those games. I really, really enjoyed those on the Wii, and it's really cool to see it coming out. I am 100% buying it on the Switch. I really do hope that they do a dual pack though, but I don't think that's going to happen. So either way, I'm going to support. I'm definitely buying the game. I love the idea of having it on the Switch, and that's what I really am excited about, is if there are more Wii game ports coming to the Switch, because with the Joy-Cons and how they are, they can really do a lot of the games that the Nunchuck and Wii Remote Combo could do on the Wii, and that's really exciting. Like, my dream is for them to have a Red Steel 2 re-release on the Switch. That would be amazing. That was one of the best Wii games, probably one of the best motion controlled games I've ever played, and that would be amazing. I don't know how the IR pointer kind of works with the from the Wii to the Switch. I don't think it works nearly as well. I've heard like World of Goo was a little bit annoying, having to recalibrate a lot, but either way, I think that'd be really cool, and The Blob really gets me excited. I'm super stoked for this. So I might actually be doing a video coming out soon. I might want to make it a series, actually, is where I kind of go in depth into video game companies, what they've been working on, what they are working on in the future, what they have worked on, and kind of the state of their business in today's gaming landscape. So THQ Nordic is definitely one of those companies I want to talk about, and that might be a series I come out with soon, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, let's get on to the next bit of news. Spyro trilogy. So there's a lot of rumors going around. I don't think it's been confirmed yet, but apparently this after the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy came out, apparently Spyro is the next IP on the docket for Activision. So, you know, regardless of if you actually really enjoy these games, Activision is doing really good with these for some reason. They're remaking, texturing everything in the game. You know, basically a full remake of the games, putting in a nice package of 3 games and releasing it at a budget price, not a full price for these remade games with, you know, trophies added, all that kind of stuff. I think that is really, really cool, and Activision are doing this 100% right, something that we're not seeing with a lot of Switch games being re-released, which is really annoying that these publishers are trying to take advantage of the Switch fan base. But either way, this is really exciting. I was never the biggest into Spyro games, but I do remember, I think it might have been year 1 or something, maybe not year 1, I forget what it was, but I played a couple of them back in the day, mainly on friends' PS2s, I believe. But yeah, like, you know, that's really exciting. And if it comes out and it does end up coming to the Switch, I might get it. I just don't think I can, I don't know, just with how it is with the Switch and my PS4, I just can't see buying these type of games on my PS4 and playing them. I need them to be agile with me, whether portable that I can play in bed or on the go or whatever it is. It just, the Switch is where it is, and I'm willing to wait a year if that is the case. And I don't know, it's just so tough to try to go back to it. And like the same thing with Persona 5. It's like, man, like Persona 5 would be like 100 for me if it was on the Switch, if it was portable as well. It's just so tough to just have to sit down on your couch and play now when I've been spoiled with the Switch. It sucks, but anyway, Spyro trilogy really cool, and apparently Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy might be coming out to the Switch and Xbox and everything else as well. I believe these games just have the 1-year exclusivity, and again, that's something I might have to look into getting. I've never been the biggest Crash Bandicoot fan either, but I do remember, I forget, was it Crash Team Racing or something like that? There's one of the Crash games that I'd play at my friend's house. We'd play for hours and hours and hours. The same mini game where it's basically like King of the Hill, but you're running around on goats and you're like hitting each other off of a platform. Does anyone remember what this game was? Because that was a blast for us, and we played that constantly. So anyway, that's really cool, and again, it's odd to see Activision doing really well with these games. Clearly, the games aren't. Maybe we're just giving them more benefit of the doubt, because clearly all the other companies are just trying to take advantage when they do remakes. There's probably not that much effort that goes into them. So it's really, you know, either way, it's really cool to see that they have trilogies coming out at budget prices. So next bit of news is Metroid Prime 4. So there's a lot of rumors kind of going around about the game being developed by Namco Bandai, and one of the YouTubers that I know from back in the day, Dr. Trey81, he found it out, found someone's LinkedIn page, noticed that they mentioned a first-person adventure exclusive to Nintendo Switch. I think everyone can kind of, you know, connect the dots there and say, hey, this looks like it's Metroid Prime. And then they also announced a Ridge Racer 8 as exclusive to Nintendo Switch. And I love the Ridge Racer games. I've only played a couple, but my favorite so far has definitely been the one on the 3DS. First off, that was great with the 3D. The music was awesome, but just, yeah, the whole drifting arcadey aspect of Ridge Racer is awesome. And to see it come out for the Switch, I am super excited for that, because that'll be the first racing game I've actually bought for the Switch. I didn't even get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Yeah, so like, this is really interesting. So apparently it's developed in Singapore with a lot of the former Star Wars 1313 development staff that were let go, which is really interesting, because that tech demo that they had of that Star Wars thing looked pretty amazing. The engine that they were using looked insane, and following this this reveal from Dr. Trey 81 of this rumor here. It was confirmed by Eurogamer, and later it was, I guess, confirmed or rumored again that development was actually recently transferred to Japan. So I'm wondering if it was maybe the developers in Singapore created the engine or something, or got everything kind of running or working with in Singapore with these developers, and then they're transferring it over to Namco Bandai in main headquarters in Japan. So That's really cool. There was another recent video from Dr. Trey 81 saying that he found out in another LinkedIn profile that one of the developers from the Singapore branch recently physically transferred to Japan to work on online functionality in the game. So again, this could be a different game, but it seems like this could be the Metroid game that we're talking about, and that it could have multiplayer online components at least, which is really interesting. And that might also just confirm that, in fact, yes, the development has been moved over to the headquarters of Namco Bandai. So either way, I think this is really cool developments. Dr. Trey, I appreciate, your investigative journalism here. Really cool to see. And I did want to kind of talk about this Rule of Two review controversy thing that came out after. The guy was so fucking out of line. The guy was he must have been just having a bad day. And then I think he's just not really used to getting in controversies with fellow YouTubers, whereas Dr. Trey is, pretty much based off of, conflict and stuff on YouTube with other YouTubers. This Rule 2 guy really took it super personally, and you can tell he was super affected by it, and he just was not making sense, and he's just being an asshole for whatever reason. And I don't know, I don't want to go too much into it, but if you guys did want to take a look, go check out Rule 2 Review or Dr. Trey 81. The guy was so out of line, and he was wrong, and he just didn't want to admit it. And it was just kind of sad to see from a guy who I recently subscribed to because of the Spawn Wave Spawncast. To see how he kind of reacted there and what he was saying, and saying that the guy's stupid, dumb, mentally ill or whatever. I don't know. It was kind of embarrassing for the guy. But anyway, let's get on to the next topic. Next topic is Nintendo Switch is getting My Nintendo Rewards in March for the Switch. About fucking time, Nintendo. What the hell is wrong with Nintendo right now? How slow can they be in doing all of this shit? My Nintendo Rewards takes a whole fucking year to get ready to go for the Switch. The online service still isn't fucking released. No network streaming apps or whatever it is are available in the what the fuck is taking them so long? Seriously, I don't understand. The one interpretation I have is that they clearly released the Switch way in advance from what they intended, so they didn't have everything else ready. But it's really, you've had a fucking year and all this shit still wasn't ready? What the hell are you guys doing? Hire more people or something. What the fuck? Anyway, no more swearing and stuff like that. Anyway, My Nintendo Rewards, that's super exciting for me because I have 750 gold coins. I have 1,000 something platinum coins or whatever. I don't even know anymore. It's just they have been doing pretty good because they have these monthly Nindy games that come out, but they've been for the Wii U and 3DS. I did end up getting one of the games, I believe, but the rest I've either already own or they're for the Wii U, and I'm just man, I don't even want to bother getting it on the Wii U. I won't play it. So I don't know. I'm really looking forward to the Switch thing. I have a huge long list of wish list items on my Switch right now, and I'm really hoping that some of these rewards are some of these indie games that maybe got lost in the shuffle. When the Switch was really getting packed with a lot of indie games. So I have a ton that are on that list, and I'm hoping that they release some of them here for the gold rewards. Even if they make them 100 points for the full game, that's what they got to do. A lot of these things where it's just hey, you get 15% off of a game. It's fuck no, man. If I'm not buying the game and I'm waiting for a discount, I'm already waiting for a sale of 50% off, and then I want some more than that. You know what I mean? 15% isn't doing anything for anybody. I understand why they do that with platinum, but for gold coins doing that low, no chance. Anyway, I'm excited for this. A lot of people want to talk shit about having just digital rewards, and yeah, obviously it'd be great to get physical rewards again, but if I'm getting free games, that's perfect for me. That, what else more can you ask for? No one else is doing a reward system like this, so what can you really be pushing? It's for free and you're getting free shit, so what else do you want? Other than that, though, apparently there is some sort of reward system where you get between 1% and 5% of your purchase or something back in gold coin worth or something like that. I didn't really read too much into it. I'm just going to wait till they have the full release and description and overview trailer of how it's all going to work. But, It's cool. I'm happy that they're actually updating My Nintendo because it has the potential, but it's just been so nothing. Like, who the fuck needs all these mobile phone wallpapers that you can just download 20 seconds after they're released anyway on the internet? You know what I mean? Doesn't make any sense, but I don't know. I'm hopeful that they get this shit figured out. They have a ton of indie games that Nintendo can partner with those developers to give them some money, but also, give us some games to play. So it's really cool to see, and I'm looking forward to what comes out of it. So, and the last bit of news, I did want to talk about Roller Coaster Tycoon. So this series has been a favorite of mine for a long time. I remember back in the day, before school, I would wake up at like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. I'd go to the family computer, which was the one computer in our house back in the day, and I'd turn on Roller Coaster Tycoon. I'd play until like 8 o'clock, and then I'd get something to eat, then I'd go to school. You know what I mean? Same with like Age of Empires back in the day, and Star Wars Battlegrounds, all that kind of stuff. I was addicted to computer games back then, and Roller Coaster Tycoon was one of those big ones. So to see that a Roller Coaster Tycoon game could be coming out to the Switch has me excited for the idea. However, seeing this developer and all the issues they had and being with Atari and all this stuff, it kind of concerns me. And with this release of this, it's not even a Kickstarter. It's like a investment option for people where they literally invest in the game for it to come out on the Switch. And I believe it's supposed to be a reskinning of Roller Coaster Tycoon World or something like that, which apparently was a horrible, shitty game on the PC. I don't know what to really think about this, but either way, I am kind of excited for the idea of having a Roller Coaster Tycoon game. I hope it turns out well. I really, really hope for the best here, because I would love having one on a portable. Like, that would be so good. That'd be so amazing. And that has me really excited for that aspect alone. So I'm rooting for them. I hope they do well. But, please just put some fucking effort into this shit, Atari. You fuck up so often now. I don't know what to say. So anyway, let's just get on to some of the games I've been playing recently. First game, Celeste. Yes, Celeste. The game that's been getting a lot of perfect scores and high praise from everybody. And yeah, well, the game is really fantastic. It's super well made, like really well designed. It's really my type of platformer. I love speed running through platformers. I love when there's a flow and a rhythm to how you run through the level. I love these type of one, each stage is like kind of one screen and kind of going through like the like Super Meat Boy or The End Is Nigh. This is basically the perfect platformer for me. The story wasn't great or anything like that, but it was interesting. Like, you don't really expect much of a story from it anyway, but it was interesting, and it did leave you wondering, well, what's at the top of the mountain? What's the story going to lead to here? And really, it didn't disappoint. It had a ton of charm. I love all the details they had, like whether little animations when text boxes come up, how the characters talk, how they speak is so adorable. It's like a mix of Animal Crossing, but not nearly as annoying. It's really cool, really cute. The whole game is just animated so well, which is interesting because it isn't like an 8-bit style kind of a game, right? But then surrounding that main game that is basically just the 8-bit, everything is so like animated well. There's always like snow flying across the screen, or there's flames, and there's all this interesting stuff that's moving throughout, which is like the main game is like the base 8-bit, but then everything's prettied up so well. It works. It looks beautiful in action. It's just super well done. And I played through. I went through a couple of the B-side tapes that you can unlock when you're playing through the game. They're basically much more challenging levels. I love how everything's formatted, how it's like this 3D rendering of like a mountain, and that's how you have like the stage select, I guess, the level select. And yeah, like really, I can't really think of too many negatives here. I really liked playing it with the Joy-Cons. That's one thing I can say. The Joy-Cons for some games like first-person shooters and stuff like that, given the limited kind of reach, I guess, for the actual joystick, it's a little bit off. But for games like this, where it might be a little bit different without a D-pad, although I do like using the Joy-Con, the buttons as a D-pad, it's a lot more precise for me. But just using the joystick, because it has like the limited range, everything is very quick and smooth using it, and I really enjoyed that using it, using the Joy-Con. So You know, I don't see why anyone would get it on any other system. This was almost exclusively handheld for me, and it was perfect. Yeah, I don't know what else to really say about it. I think everyone should take a look at one of the trailers or maybe a brief let's play of it. It is very tough, but it's it's not menacingly tough or anything like that. Like to be fair, I do have a lot of experience with games like this. I just recently beat End is Nigh. So this one probably isn't as tough as End is Nigh. But you do die a lot, but you kind of learn as you go, right? And it's never unfair, which is really cool. Some of the boss battles are really cool in this game too. It's really well made. I think I've talked about it enough for now, but yeah, I definitely highly suggest Celeste. That's well worth. I believe it's $14.99 in Canada, which is crazy. So really well worth the price. The next game is going to be Dandara. So this is a game I've been looking forward to ever since the first reveal trailer of it, and I gotta say, this is one of the best games on the eShop, 100%. I think this is better than Celeste even, this is something special, guys. So the game is a Metroidvania style game where basically you jump from wall to wall, so it's fully it's not 2D platformer in that way. Think of it almost more of a top-down shooter. However, it is it's a mix of a top-down shooter and like a 2D platformer. It is platforming, but you're doing that on like a 360-degree space, where like the whole stage will kind of rotate with you and move around with you, sort of. Yeah, you can just basically jump from wall to wall. Wherever like a white wall is, you jump to it and you kind of move wherever the salt is, I guess. And yeah, it's something fantastic. I highly suggest taking a look at a trailer, seeing how it is, because the movement in this game is what makes this game so special. It is such a blast to just run through these levels and, aim with precision, and you have to be very deliberate in your actions, but you can also speed through at certain areas. It's really well paced. A couple of the issues I found, one is, and I did leave a tweet for Raw Fury and Long Hat House about this. Whenever you start up the game, it takes like 30 seconds for it to actually go through its startup like procedure, saying like, hey, yeah, this is developers, blah, blah, and go into the title screen. It's like 30 seconds of just a black screen. I'm like, wait, what? And they released this? Like, seriously? How the fuck does that happen? But, that's really not a complaint about the game. It just, whatever. Maybe one thing could be a little bit in the wayfinding, because these levels aren't just in a 2D and that, hey, you have gravity, this is where you're going to go, because it's fully 3D, not 3D, but 360 degree, like an entire map, like every single wall, multiple doors in each stage kind of a thing, not just left to right. It's it can get a little bit confusing at times where you're supposed to be going, but it really, it took like a couple minutes for me to realize, okay, yeah, that's where I go, then I go there. So it's really not a big deal. Yeah, so this Metroidvania is done super well. You really feel like you progress, but it's not just progressing and like opening up new doors and stuff like that. You're constantly improving on your abilities, your gunshots, your health, your stamina, your everything like that, your special abilities. You're constantly growing in that way, but you're also constantly growing because you get used to the style of platforming, jumping from wall to wall, aiming where you're going to jump every time. At the start, you have to be very deliberate, because you're like, okay, this is a little weird. So if you jump to this wall, all of a sudden you have to aim, at a 180 degree away from that wall to jump across. You can't just jump exactly 180 degrees to the other thing there. You have to jump across from yourself. So a lot of the design of the levels kind of coordinate with that, and I've never found an issue in that, and that worked really well. But over time, you get so much better in it, then all of a sudden you're just like jump, going right through an entire like crowd of enemies, or avoiding all this gunshots and stuff, and it gets so damn satisfying. Yeah, the bosses were incredible. I absolutely loved the bosses. So unique and very tough too. Like you actually have to learn what are the patterns they have here. You have to use different abilities of yourself. You're not used to battles like this, because this is a whole different way of playing a Metroidvania game like this. It's top down, but it's also platforming. It's super interesting, and it works it just works so well. One of the best things I think about this, it's not just the style. The style is really cool. It's like this, I'd almost say like Mayan god kind of style to it. You have this like beautiful like Afro princess type thing, Dandara, that you play as, and it's really, really cool with the style and everything. Not much of a story, but it serves its purpose. But yeah, the bosses were amazing. But the best thing, I think, this might be one of the best games that uses it, is the HD Rumble. Holy crap, guys, this HD Rumble is implemented so well. Every little thing you do, whether you jump, you feel like an impact when you jump and you land. When you shoot somebody, you can feel like charge up and then release out of the Joy-Con. It was so damn cool. One of the best uses of HD Rumble I've seen so far, and I love when you can see these developers put all that effort into it. And I've definitely got to do a video about HD Rumble use in some Switch games. I'll be doing that at some point in the near future. But this game is so damn good, guys. I can't suggest this game enough. I think I think there was like a early discount sale for the pre-purchase or something like that. I think I got it for like $12.99, which is absurd. How? This game should be $30. Like, this is so fucking good, guys. It took me upwards of 8 hours to actually complete it. Man, like, this game is so good. So anyway, I'm done gushing over that. I've been just saying it's so good probably for the last like 20 seconds. So let's get on to the next game. The next game is actually a little bit of DLC. I finally got the chance to jump into the Zelda Breath of the Wild Champions Ballad DLC. So in case you guys didn't know the background to my Zelda playing, I first bought Zelda Breath of the Wild on the Wii U, played it to death, 100% of the game, except for the Korok seeds, but I did every side quest, everything in the game you could think of, other than Korok seeds. And then so then I finally got the Switch in, I believe, May, and that's when I ended up getting Zelda Breath of the Wild again a couple months later. And so here I am now. I started Breath of the Wild on the Switch only on Master Mode, so everything I'm playing through, whether the first DLC or the second DLC, is in Master Mode, which made the trials very difficult, and I haven't even got through the first round. To be fair, I haven't tried it too much yet, but I'm going to hold that off until I want to jump back into the Zelda Breath of the Wild again. I haven't beat Ganon yet in the Master Mode. I did beat all 4 Divine Beasts so that I can unlock this Champions Ballad DLC, and it was I thought it was great for for the price and all that. What was it, $20 for everything in the first and this one? Is huge. A whole new Master Mode, the hero's path, everything like that, all the new items and everything. Holy crap, a ton of them, tons of hours of gameplay added, and it was definitely worth it. But I kind of wish they did a little bit more. I think everyone kind of hyped themselves up a little bit too much on what they do story wise. I thought it could have been cool if they did have something like post Hyrule, when it's like Link with Zelda, and then they kind of revitalized all of Hyrule, and maybe you're, building up new settlements or something. That would have been pretty cool, but that'd also be basically like a whole new game. They could have made it like $30 DLC, $40 DLC if they did something super extensive, but I don't know. Either way, like, I did enjoy for what it was. I liked revisiting the places and new places as well. The puzzles were decent for the most part. I think they could have probably put a little bit more effort into it. I think the last Divine Beast was pretty cool. I liked it. Was a really smart design. But some of the shrines were a little bit kind of just half-assed. Like, they try to do something unique and cool, which is interesting. But some of them were just like, they're just kind of walk in the park. There's nothing really to it. Final boss was fucking awesome, by the way. I'm not going to spoil it, but that was really fucking cool. I'm sad that I got a little bit spoiled like a day before I got to that part. I would have been like, even more hyped than I actually was when it started up, but I'll leave it at that. And as far as the reward goes, you get the Master Cycle 0 or whatever they call it, and I do wish it kind of went a little bit faster. I get why they might not have had it go a little bit faster, but it is super useful. I mean, like, it's awesome just going through Hyrule like that. I'm excited to jump back into Zelda at some point in the future. I just have so many other games to play right now that I'm looking forward to going through it all with the Master Cycle 0 again. So I just have to go back and fight Ganon now, and then I'll be done that. Then I'll try to 100% this game again with all the side quests and everything like that. I don't think I'll go for the Korok seeds, but who knows? Maybe in the future I might be crazy enough to do it. I did enjoy it. I do wish they kind of did a little bit more. Like, maybe I kind of hyped it up a little bit too much myself, but either way, it was 100% worth the money. I mean, come on. And the last game I wanted to talk about was Elder Scrolls Skyrim. So yes, I finally got this game. I held off on buying this game for so long because I knew how big it was and how much I don't like to just sit down in front of a TV to play through RPGs as much. I've seen it on Steam sales so much before where it was like $4.99 to get. And man, like I could have pulled the trigger back then and probably would have been better to get on PC. But I'm pretty happy I decided to wait and get it here on the Switch. I had like gift cards from Christmas and stuff like that, so it didn't end up costing me too much more. $79.99 in Canada. Oof. But yeah, so I'm playing through it for the first time. Super interesting. I'm really excited. I'm really happy I decided to pick this up and get going through it. I knew I would enjoy it, but it's a little bit different than what even I anticipated. A couple kind of notes I want to kind of go over here is I think I'm too OCD in this game. I'm slowly pushing through, but like, a lot of the things aren't explained, which kind of annoys me. Sometimes I'll go to GameFAQs just to see like how does this system work. I'm sure a lot of it could be in a lot of the books they have, but I find it kind of annoying how small the text is when they actually bring up the books for you to read. And it's like there's just so many of them that it's just like, man, I'm not going to keep up with all that. I'm just going to go through. I'm just so like slow with everything. It's like there's so many quests to do. And every time I end up going and do a quest and my inventory fills up, I'm so inventory based. I manage it so often that, I'm always trying to save for the best weapon that I can find or the most high value weapon that I can then sell later. And I'm just so intricate in how I'm dealing with this. I feel like I'm kind of dampening my experience a little bit. Like I'm still 100% like invested in it. I'm loving it, but it just something about how I'm playing it. So I think after I do a couple more of these things here, I'm going to really just start kind of plowing through the story a little bit, maybe do a few less of these smaller side quests and adventuring on my own and stuff like that. But, the combat is really cool. I like having the two-hand kind of aspect and all the different systems of whether you're using two-handed, one-handed swords, maces, whatever, or staffs or, your shouts or your magic. It's really cool. The quests are all pretty nice. They're all pretty interesting. I like that it's all voice acted, and there's always, kind of an interesting hook to every one of these quests, which makes you actually really care about each one of the quests. It's really cool, But probably one of the best things is when you're just walking around the world and all these random things happen, like one time I just walked by this thing, I think it was called like Pinehurst or something like that. I was trying to go to a house or like a plot of land I bought, and then I see this building just outside of where my land is. I'm like, oh, what's this? So then I pick the lock, I go in, and it ends up being like a bandit lord that's staying in this place, and I'm like, oh fuck, what the hell's going on? He's attacking me. I kill him with with my ally there and everything. And then I'm like ransacking the place. I'm like, oh shit, I just killed this guy. I don't know if this is his place or not. Then I go down into the basement of the place. Then there's this secret button that opens up that opens up a secret door, and then all of a sudden you're in this huge underground like labyrinth dungeon, which is like a bandit thieves treasure room and the hideout and everything. It's like so cool. It's like I could have just easily walked by and went into this house, but here all of a sudden I have this huge dungeon underground, and that is probably the best thing I think about Skyrim is all these unexpected things that you find that kind of happen throughout. One of the coolest things I thought is, and it was kind of annoying actually, at the start of the game I was using motion controls, which was pretty cool. It was working pretty well, but I wasn't really saving that often, and I walked by this one lady, niece's cabin, and I accidentally hit her when I was talking to her because for some reason I moved one of the Joy-Cons, and I was like, oh fuck, and she ends up attacking me, so I end up killing her. So then with that, I can then go in her house. I go down underground, and there's all these alchemy things that she has there. She was like a witch, right? So I'm like, oh shit, I just killed her. I feel bad, but I don't want to go back. So I end up, fine. That's fine. I go. Then as soon as I go back, I end up going to a village. All of a sudden, I see these these bounty hunters basically following me, and then this one guy gets to me, starts attacking me, trying to kill me. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? At the time I don't know he's a bounty hunter. He's just attacking me. I'm like, oh fuck, what'd I do? So I have to fight him off, and then like 3 others come, and they're and then I end up ransacking the bodies, and then I see in one of the pockets there's a bounty or a hit list or whatever on me, and it's saying like, hey, Derek did this or whatever, Wizrad did this. And it's like, wow, this is so cool. all these systems kind of put together. It's really cool to see that. It's a little bit different than Zelda, where Zelda's all like the whole world is put together, like physics based. Is really cool like that. This is more like the social kind of like the social mix of like the systems, which is really cool. So like that was really cool to see. When you're walking through the world, you see passersby, and they'll have like a prisoner that is someone who didn't do anything wrong or is on your side. So then you find out a way how to either stealth kill the guards, or you just go head on attack and then end up maybe getting a bounty on your head. Or, maybe you're just walking through and then all of a sudden a dragon flies by over your head, and then, then all of a sudden you're fighting a dragon. I'm a little disappointed with the dragons in the fact that they're not nearly as difficult as I thought they would be. Like a lot of it is just, I'm shooting arrows at it for a little while. It comes down, the breathing fire doesn't really do too much damage to me, and then I just end up going in for the kill, and after he goes lower than like half health, he can't really fly anywhere. It's just like, man, I haven't had any bit of trouble with a dragon yet, which is kind of sad. I hope it's just because it's early game and these are smaller dragons or something like that, but anyway. Some complaints I do have. I wish some of the systems worked more realistically together. For example, sometimes when you do, say, attack guards or something in a watchtower, you kill everyone, no one gets away, and all of a sudden you automatically have like a bounty on your head. Or as soon as you go back to a settlement, all of a sudden everyone's trying to like attack you, and it's like, wait a minute, like no one saw me kill all these people. How the hell do they know that I killed anybody? You know what I mean? Like there's some things there where like the world makes it so realistic with how the systems interact with each other. I killed a bandit or whatever within one of the towns, and he's still sitting there like butt naked because I ransacked his clothes and everything. He's still sitting there on one of the steps, and like the whole world is connected like that, and everything kind of plays off each other. So when you get some of these aspects that are not very realistic, it kind of dampers the experience, where it's like, man, I want to be able to do this, it should work, but then nope, it doesn't let you. That's something that's kind of disheartening for me. There are some serious glitches. I've seen some pretty crazy ones. Some of them actually for my benefit, but those are just more entertaining, really. There's nothing been like, game breaking or anything like that. It is just kind of saying that, hey, I guess the world is big and they don't put as much play testing in it as I guess like a Breath of the Wild had. So, it's just entertaining. At least it's not game breaking or anything like that. I'm in the inventory menu system so often, trying to save, get the best items, saving the best items there, and trying to have to deal with how much weight I can carry, or, saving the most expensive items to sell later. And so I'd always have to fast travel back to a town, sell it, go to all the different places to sell it, then, store some away in my house or whatever, and then go back to, a lot of it is probably my own fault for how I'm, so OCD with this kind of stuff. But I'm going to try to kind of separate from that. But, guys, like overall, yeah, this game is, this is something, I can tell why so many people praise this, and this was like game of the year for everybody. And, game of the generation, I think a lot of people are saying before too. And I could definitely see this back in the day. Definitely being that way, and even now it's an absolute blast to play. And again, I'm so happy I have this portable. I don't think I'd be able to play through it all without it being portable. So anyway, you guys will hear some more about Skyrim in the next episode as well, so stay tuned for that. That's it for the games I've been playing. I did want to bring up one other game. I did pre-purchase Mulaka, and I highly suggest everyone take a look at this. I have some serious faith in that this game is going to be something special. It actually kind of reminds me of Faye, with these both being indie games, but Faye, to be fair, isn't indie. It's published by EA, so I guess not. But these type of games from indie studios, developers, and full 3D worlds, and I think they're open world environments as well. And Mulaka has this like caveman Mexico kind of style to it, and it looks fantastic. And I highly suggest everyone take a look, because I already pre-purchased it. I am 100% in. Anyway, next segment is just going to be a no filter rant, so I hope you guys enjoy. This is a public service announcement. Nintendo, stop being lazy. Even with the dozen or so fantastic releases I've seen from them recently, especially over 2017 with the Switch, I'm still seeing these hints of laziness that are bringing me back to the days of the Wii U and Wii and, even the DS and the 3DS at times. And I don't want to see Nintendo going back to any of this any longer. Enough is enough. And here are some of the most extraordinarily lazy and low effort games Nintendo has put out over the last decade or so. Now, not all of these games are actually terrible games. This is just lazy efforts put in by Nintendo. Not all these games are bad. However, this first one, Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, is a steaming pile of shit. Fucking awful, low effort, put nothing into it. In fact, the entire Amiibo line on the Wii U with Animal Crossing was an absolute travesty. That's just offensive to Animal Crossing as an IP and to all the fans out there of Animal Crossing. It was absolutely absurd. The game was god awful. Literally, I found the game for $4.99 with the 2 Amiibo included, and I played it for about 15 minutes with a friend, and then we're like, this is fucking trash. No, we're not playing it. It's god awful. Another game, Star Fox Zero. Again, I appreciate the attempt at innovation here, and the game in itself isn't terrible, but in this case, it really was just for the sake of innovation. With the secondary controller, all this kind of stuff. It was nothing to make the game better. It was just for the sake of being innovative. And then the rest of the game was rushed out around it. They subbed out Platinum Games to develop the game and probably gave them like a year, not even, And there it is. There's a rushed Star Fox game, not getting the treatment it deserves following Star Fox Assault. Where is the big Star Fox game everyone has been hoping for? Why aren't Nintendo making it something special? Make it big, make it a blockbuster, make it like a space opera thing that the original Star Fox was supposed to be. Where the hell is the effort here, Nintendo? Mario Tennis Ultra Smash on the Wii U. I wasn't even going to think about buying this, but just by watching reviews and watching gameplay of it, this here is about all Mario sports games in general over the last decade. They are all phone-ins, they're cash-ins, nothing is happening with them. What the fuck is Camelot doing? What the fuck is Camelot doing? Where is any bit of effort? Where is any pride in their work? This is ridiculous, and they should be ashamed of it. There's no interesting characters added, no new modes. Jesus Christ, this is absolutely absurd. From what the greats and how great they were before to where they are now, it's fucking ridiculous, and that goes for all of the Mario sports games now. Another game, one that I actually really enjoyed, was Metroid Prime Federation Force. Again, it's a good game in itself, but this still shows the lack of attention to its audience. And what the fuck is it? People want something big, a new Metroid Prime game. What the fuck was this? This is tone-deaf Nintendo at its finest. This next one here, this one gets me the most pissed off. Paper Mario Color Splash and Paper Mario Sticker Star. This is the biggest issue I have right here. A beloved gaming franchise boiled down to a shit battle system and half-assed writing with no effort put into the world whatsoever. Yes, Color Splash looks pretty. Yes, Sticker Star looked great with 3D. But that's fucking it. There's no actual effort put into this stuff. Where are the unique characters? Paper Mario is about the world it builds, and yet Paper Mario Color Splash and all this stuff and Sticker Star, all they have is fucking toads? Where is the fucking effort, Nintendo? You guys know what the fans are asking for. You guys know what the fans want, but you continuously do not fucking listen. I get, and everyone gets, that Nintendo, you have your innovations here. But sometimes you gotta listen to your fucking audience, and you gotta put effort into these games that everyone adores, and you're shitting on them. Paper Mario Color Splash was the first Paper Mario game I did not buy, and I will not be buying it until I see some effort put into the Paper Mario franchise. Another series, Mario Party. Nintendo, why the fuck are the last few games released on the goddamn 3DS? Literally, this is the stupidest thing you could ever think of, and you guys are doing this continuously. This is a series of games that doesn't need a big change where everyone's riding in the same fucking Bowser car. This is a fucking board game on your video game system. This should be on a fucking console like the Switch with unique mini games that use the Switch's controllers. How fucking hard is that, people? Where is the effort put into designing these Mario Party games? Where is the effort into appeasing the fans? This is fucking stupid, Nintendo. This needs to be fixed, and Mario Party needs to have a revitalization. Brand new Mario Party, not a numbered sequel. This is the new way of Mario Party games. This needs to be released on the fucking Switch, not on the 3DS again. Do something with this, Nintendo. I also want to talk about Hey Pikmin and Chibi Robo Ziplash. So this is one of my main gripes with a lot of Nintendo laziness, is they just bring everything as a 2D platformer, which clearly is not as resource intensive, and they have way too many of them on their platforms right now anyways. You need something unique and special, and what they're basically doing here is they're shitting on their previous fan base for those series of games and saying, hey, we don't have any other announcement of another game from the series coming out, but hey, here you go. Take this Chibi Robo game, which is the most basic, plain Jane, piece of shit platformer game I've ever seen. It is terrible. Really. It's not that it doesn't work. It's not that it doesn't function, but there is absolutely nothing unique or special about it. And that is a huge disappointment for all the fans of the series, but just for Nintendo in general, doing these phone-in, cash-in games here. It's absurd. It's horrible. Another game, and one that has just recently came out on the Switch. ARMS. Love it. Great, innovative game. I really enjoyed that. But what the fuck? Why is it such a basic single player? You have all these creative characters, but then you lead them down to not even having cutscenes or anything interesting brought into them. They have these interesting designs, but there's nothing to it. Not even to the amount of like a Punch-Out. What the fuck is going on with this? Is this just slow development time, or you're getting rushed to completion? These games need the effort put into them. This one didn't have the effort like a Splatoon did, so this is why this likely didn't perform as well. Come on, Nintendo. So those are some of the games that have concerned me over the past few years or so, but the point of this video is talking about some of the upcoming games that I am very concerned about, and I'm worried, whether it be with development times and release schedules, if these are going to have the same fate. And this Nintendo cannot rest on their laurels with the Nintendo Switch now. After releasing games like Zelda Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey, these really innovative, brand new takes on these beloved franchises, they cannot be doing the same thing with these upcoming games. And some of the games that have been announced so far have me very concerned. So let's go over them now. Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. Make it the game that everyone fucking wants. Nintendo, Game Freak, whoever, Pokemon Company. Make it an open world 3D Pokemon game where you can find Pokemon in the wild, literally on your fucking overworld map. Make it a legitimate Pokemon game that everyone has been dreaming about for years. I've played Pokemon Coliseum, and that was one step. That was getting there, you know? But make it a full-out Pokemon RPG, 3D. Everyone has been hoping for this forever, but you just do not push it. You do not push the effort there. Maybe limit the scope of the amount of Pokemon. That is fine. Bring it back down to 150 or something like that. Then maybe expand going forward on sequels or whatever. But do something special with this game. You know? Likely with the audience they have now, I know you guys don't want to alienate the existing and the kids that all follow Pokemon, but maybe do it a yearly game with one which is more innovative and then one that is more conventional, like the Pokemon Sun and Moon or X and Y and all that kind of stuff. You know, put some effort into this fucking game. Everyone wants something special with this, and if everyone has to hold their breath for nothing again, that's a huge disappointment, and you guys aren't putting in the fucking effort in that this series deserves. The next game is Mario Tennis Aces. So after this mini direct, you know, a lot of people are optimistic, but keep in mind, this is coming from fucking Camelot, the company that doesn't seem to have any pride in what they do and are only made for phone-in and cash-in games that really have no effort put into them whatsoever, whether that's Nintendo's fault for development time they give them or the amount of money they put towards the project, whatever it is. Give them the fucking resources they need to make this game good and put actual effort into this, because this is something that needs to have some quality put back into the names. I can see everyone's mindshare around these games going forward has been or over the last like decade or so has been pretty lukewarm, and who can blame them with games like fucking Ultra Smash coming out? That was a disgrace, and it gets me very worried for how Mario Tennis Aces will be. I see they're trying to appeal, saying that they're doing more with it, but we'll see how that actually goes. Kirby Star Allies. So I get that a 2D platformer like this is something that is required in games nowadays. However, with the vast influx of indie games that come out with likely much better platforming than what we see with Kirby Star Allies, these games are a little bit too much of the same shit. Personally, I'm not interested in it. I've never been the biggest Kirby fan out there. I usually just like the interesting, unique Kirby games that come out, like the Rainbow Curses and the Mass Attacks and all that kind of stuff. But I don't see them doing anything special with this. So I want to see some actual effort put into this. Again, whether it stays with the same type of formula, I just want to see something special and unique coming out of this. It can't just be the same the same phone-ins that they seem to be doing a lot here. So the last game I wanted to talk about was Metroid Prime 4. I know there's been the recent rumors coming out that Namco Bandai is working on this Metroid Prime game, and that gets me very excited, because usually when you get Nintendo IPs developed by a third-party company, they usually put in all the effort they can, as we've seen with Mario and Rabbids on the Switch recently. Fantastic game, so much effort put into it, and it's something unique and special. I want to see Metroid Prime 4 be that. If they need to go fucking all out with this game, all the budget they need, all the people they need on the team. People have dreams about games like Zelda, Breath of the Wild. People had dreams about that kind of a Zelda game come out, and here it is. People had dreams of something like Super Mario Odyssey come out. Here it is. This needs to happen with the Metroid series. Metroid Prime Trilogy did that fantastically. We need to see the Metroid Prime series live up to that and more here. This needs to be Nintendo's big sci-fi blockbuster game. This needs to be it, and I'm very optimistic if Namco Bandai is the ones working on this that it will be. We will see, but Metroid deserves the effort here. The series deserves something big, and I feel like if they put in the effort like they did with something like a Breath of the Wild or a Super Mario Odyssey, this could be something special and could be another big tentpole franchise for Nintendo if this goes well. But yeah, guys, that's what I want to talk about today. Nintendo has shown a lot of laziness and not much effort getting put into some of these games, and I do not want to see that happening again throughout the Switch's life cycle. This needs to be something special and unique. I feel like Nintendo realizes this, and I'm just hoping that they don't end up stepping back when they see that the Switch is starting to sell. They need to keep pushing and pushing. They need the big, innovative, creative games coming out. And I feel like they have the opportunity here, and I just don't want to see them fuck that up. So full new, brand new, unique, interesting experiences coming out for these IPs that Nintendo owns with maximum effort. And that is it. That is No Filter, a Nintendo podcast, episode 11. Hope you guys enjoyed, and please leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think of the episodes. If you guys have any suggestions or questions you want me to talk about in the next episode, please let me know. And hope you guys have a great one.